Good afternoon. I'm Ozzie Smith. On July 10th, 2018, I emceed the groundbreaking for this project, and my opening line was, "Is everyone nice and cool?" It was a very hot day back then, and a little different today with the snow out there. Glad we're inside of this beautiful property, steps away from Busch Stadium. Can you believe it? Here we are, ready to celebrate another milestone in the Ballpark Village Phase 2 project. The Busch Stadium home opener is 36 days away, and who's counting? Things look a little different around here since we broke ground for this project in July of 2018. Employees have moved into the PwC Pennant building. One Cardinal Way is rising to the sky. One Life Fitness recently opened. And with these signs of progress, here we are at the next milestone. We're so excited to officially open Live by St. Louis. First of all, I'd like to introduce our guest speakers here today. So please join me in welcoming Kitty Ratcliffe, President and CEO of Explore St. Louis. Jonathan Tisch, Chairman and CEO of Loews Hotels and Company. Blake Cordish, Principal of the Cordish Companies. Bill DeWitt III, President of the St. Louis Cardinals. And also here today, we'd like to recognize a few more people who played an important role in this whole project. Alex Tisch, Chief Commercial and Development Officer for Loews Hotels and Company. Janaya, let me get this right. Janaya Soro, live by Loews St. Louis, and she is the general manager here. From the Cordish Companies, please welcome Vice President of Development, Nick Benjamin, and Chief Operating Officer, Zed Smith. And a special thanks goes from the St. Louis Cardinals Senior Vice President and General Counsel, Mike Whittle. And Mr. Otis Williams is also here from the development. So let's get started. Our first presenter, Ms. Kitty Ratcliffe.
Thank you so much, Ozzie, and thanks to everybody for being here today on what a wonderful day this is. It is a thrill for me to be able to be introduced by one of the greatest Cardinals of all time, the Wizard of Oz. Who to this day holds the Major League Baseball record for career assists and was a 15-time All-Star and 13 consecutive time winner of the National League Golden Glove. Off the field, there is no more beloved ambassador or advocate for our city.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll all agree that this is a momentous day for our community. We really look forward to welcoming the Loews brand to St. Louis. Each year, St. Louis hosts 26 million visitors, and they come to our community for many reasons, and they're looking for properties like this one, which are a testament to our region's hospitality and the industry that continues to grow. There are a lot of hospitality workers in the room today, and I would like to recognize all of them and ask you to do that as well. They're the backbone of our community. More than $8 billion of investments are happening in our community right now that will assist these workers and our industry. A couple of examples of that. The $380 million recent completion of the expansion at the Gateway Arch grounds. The recent and very recent opening of the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station and all of the development that's happening there. The opening of City Foundry this summer, which is just a few months away. And of course, the second phase of Ballpark Village that includes this amazing new hotel property. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize the fact that we will soon be breaking ground on an expansion for the America Center Convention Complex to bring more citywide convention visitors to our community. And in case you did not hear, just today, the James Beard Foundation announced 6 new nominees for James Beard Awards from the St. Louis community. Again, we have a lot going on in St. Louis to be proud of, and it's very exciting, and the opening of this hotel is hitting just at the right moment. I've had the privilege of knowing Jonathan Tisch for many years, and I've seen firsthand the commitment that he and Alex Tisch and the entire team have brought in terms of world-class experiences to their hotels in other cities, and now into St. Louis. And I'm confident that this new hotel will continue the tradition of excellence that Loews brings to our industry. They've assembled a superb team with General Manager Janaea Soro and Director of Sales and Marketing Robin Swick, and the other members of the hospitality industry and their team who are here today. There's never been a better time to visit St. Louis, and we can't wait to see the reaction of baseball fans in just a few short weeks when they see the transformation that has happened right here since the end of the last season. The Cardinals always offer the best game day experience in Major League Baseball, and I'm sure you'll agree they've hit a grand slam for our region and our local hospitality industry. Many thanks to the DeWitt family for their vision in creating Ballpark Village, their commitment to continuing on their promise of a world-class visitor experience in our community, and to the partnership between the Cardinals and Blake Cordish and the Cordish Company, which have selected the Loews Hotel Company for this new property. Which leads me to introducing you to the next speaker. Jonathan Tisch not only leads the Loews Hotels, he's an industry leader who has chaired the United States Travel Association. He's chaired the NYC and Company, which is New York's equivalent to Explore St. Louis. And he's been recognized by every major tourism industry organization for the leadership that he has provided to the hospitality industry in general. John is also an author, including a book on customer service entitled Chocolates on the Pillow Aren't Enough. But I'm wondering today if he knows that the whole concept of chocolates on a pillow originated here in St. Louis. It did, at a historic hotel just up the street. So we're looking for you to up your game here. It's my honor to introduce Jonathan Tisch.
Good morning, everybody, and let me add my welcome. Ozzie and I were reminiscing about that moment some 18 months ago where we were literally standing on the original home plate of the original Busch Stadium, getting ready with many of the people that are joining us this morning to put a shovel in the ground. And Ozzie was being kind when he said that it was a little warm that morning. I sweat through every layer of clothing. I don't think I was dry until I got back to New York City, but it was worth it. 18 months ago, we moved the dirt around and the construction commenced. And our addition to Ballpark Village is now ready for its grand debut. And here we are 18 months later with a cardinal red ribbon right in front of us to welcome everybody to Loews, Live by Loews, St. Louis. At Loews Hotels, we talk about partnerships quite a bit. It's very important for us to understand our clients, our team members, the community where we operate. And I can think of no greater partnership than to reflect on this morning than those organizations that help create Ballpark Village and today's opening of Live by Loews St. Louis. The Cordishes, who Alex and I have known for many, many years, Blake and Reed, who are with us today, their father, David, who is back in Baltimore, are incredibly talented at creating spaces that people want to be at. They are very good at understanding where entertainment, where sports, where food and beverage is going today. And their original partnership with the DeWitt family that goes back now to the first phase of Ballpark Village allowed here and now, right now, phase 2 to open. And when we were invited in, we said this is something that we wanted to do, that we need to do, because we think we can make a difference in St. Louis. And so to the Cordish family and to the DeWitt family, it has been an honor every step of the way. and we look forward to being your partner for decades to come right here at Ballpark Village, so thank you. There are so many men and women at Loews Hotels that have worked incredibly hard to ensure the success of this project. And this is sort of an interesting time for us. We're fairly small compared to some of the biggest names in lodging, some of our friends that are across the street, down the street, in different parts of St. Louis. But in the course of 32 days, we're opening 3 hotels. Today with Live by Loews St. Louis, in 2 weeks we open our 8th hotel in Orlando, which will bring us to 9,000 rooms in our joint venture with Comcast, NBC Universal. And then in about 5 weeks, we go further west in the great state of Missouri, and on April 2nd, we will open Loews Kansas City Hotel, 800 rooms, 65,000 square feet of meeting space, directly across the street from the Kansas City Convention Center. So this is a very exciting time for us. Our team members are committed. I want to thank my executive leadership team, certainly Alex Tisch, who heads up so many important areas for us at Loews Hotels, but with Konstantin Dimas, who's back in New York, and a few others, put this deal together, supervised the construction, and allowed us to be able to cut the ribbon in a few short minutes. So Alex, thank you for your leadership. John Cottrell, our Chief Operating Officer, Matt Brenner, our Chief Financial Officer, Steve Eunice, our Chief Human Resources Officer, Jeffrey Stewart, our Senior Advisor, all have worked together to ensure the success of today. And it's great that Kitty mentions the team members, because we'll go back to New York and we'll focus on other things over the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks. We are not the men and women that are making the beds. I'm not bringing the bags to the room. I'm not cooking the incredible food that you're all about to sample here at Live by Loews St. Louis. Janaea has put together a team of 110 incredibly talented men and women. Yesterday afternoon, we did a pep rally. There was a lot of pep in the rally. They are excited, and what I asked them, which really made me feel good and talks to what Kitty mentioned about our industry, I said, of the 110 of you, how many of you have worked in lodging before? How many of you have been in the travel and tourism industry before? And only about a half were in this industry as of last week, the week before that. They have joined Live by Loews St. Louis because they understand that they can have a really good career in an industry that continues to grow and support good American jobs. And that is the story here in St. Louis, and now we have 110 committed men and women who will offer the kind of service that we are proud of at Loews Hotels. Janaea, thank you for putting together an incredible team, and we wish you much success. I also want to thank Dale McDaniel, our Regional Vice President of Operations. He will keep an eye on this property, and so many others who we are so proud of created the opportunity for us to open this hotel. We are fortunate to be here in St. Louis. We are fortunate to be here with the Cordishes and the DeWitts. As you walk through the hotel, this is a fairly tight site in terms of how you build rooms and meeting space. We have 216 rooms, about 17,000 square feet of meeting space. There is more packed into a small building than I have ever seen. You should let your eye wander. You should see the St. Louis Cardinals memorabilia. The DeWitt family has kindly opened up their museum, and right behind us are historical moments. When you go into the bourbon bar, and yes, there are 440 different kinds of bourbon and whiskey. You don't have to count them all, take my word for it. But when you go into the bourbon bar, you will see steamer trunks that were used by the Cardinals in the 20s and the 30s to transport the equipment from game to game. Rumor has it that some of the bottoms of the steamer trunks are fake. I can't imagine in the 20s and the 30s what was below the fake bottom of a steamer trunk of a baseball player. Use your imagination. But so much of the Cardinal Nation we have tried to incorporate into this hotel. There are touches of Cardinal red that tell a story. There are areas when you go upstairs and you'll see some of the signs in the guest corridors. We have 6 different representations of Cardinals uniforms over the years. There are subtle differences, but they're really kind of cool. I want to thank HKS out of Dallas, the architectural arm of HKS. Bob Bullis is here, and his partners at HKS Interiors, Mary Alice Palmer, is not here today, but the HKS talent that is in this space is represented in so many different ways, and we are thrilled to be able to showcase this hotel, and it was a pleasure working with all of you. So on behalf of Loews Hotels, this is an amazing day. We are so excited to be here. We thank you for all of you welcoming us to town, and we look forward to being part of your community for many, many years to come. Now it is a great pleasure to introduce one of my partners here in St. Louis, Blake Cordish.
Thank you, John. I have the great privilege of saying that I'm the fourth generation of my family and our business, spanning over 100 years. And it's in that context I can tell you that there are very few days as special and as meaningful as this one. On behalf of my family, my brother Reed, who's with us today, our 10,000 plus team members across the country, thank you for joining us. We hope you'll come back many, many times over the years to come. First and foremost, let me thank the entire Cardinals organization. It's one of the great franchises in all of professional sports, one of the great fan bases in all of professional sports, and that's not an accident. That is as a result of the leadership of the DeWitt family. We are incredibly honored to be your partners and so proud of what we're accomplishing together. When we and the Cardinals laid out a very ambitious vision for Ballpark Village, spanning 7 city blocks, over $1 billion of investment, we knew that we needed to be underpinned by certain values, certain commitments that we would seek to always meet and exceed the expectations of the fans, the city of St. Louis and its visitors and the community. Commitments that we would strive to create the premier sports anchor destination in the United States, that Clark Street, where this wonderful hotel sits on, would become one of the most dynamic streets in all of professional sports, and a commitment that Ballpark Village would act as a catalyst for the further revitalization of downtown. To accomplish those lofty goals, we knew we needed a very, very special hotel and a very, very special hotel partner. I can say with absolute confidence that there is no better hotelier for here or in the United States than Loews Hotel. Loews Hotels and the Tisch family are one of the premier hoteliers in the world. The fact that they selected St. Louis, Ballpark Village, for their first hotel in St. Louis, for the first hotel in the state of Missouri by a few weeks, but we're still number one here. The fact that the Tisches and Loews selected Ballpark Village in St. Louis to be the second flagship Live by Loews in the United States is such an affirmation of everything that we in the Cardinals have strived for in Ballpark Village, and such an affirmation for the city of St. Louis. I just want to give our families profound thanks to both John and Alex and your entire family for your partnership. Today would not be possible also but for an extraordinary partnership, public-private partnership that extends to the federal level, to the state level with the governor, and certainly at the city level. Mayor Cruson, the city, the alderman, Otis Williams, and the city staff have just been extraordinary partners. We have the privilege of working with a lot of cities throughout the country, and I can tell you that there is no peer in terms of the professionalism, the can-do spirit, the energy, and the sense of partnership that we have here in St. Louis. That is why we're here today with a celebration like this. As John said, I hope you'll take the time to walk around. You're going to see in John's vision, helpfully executed by HKS, just a phenomenal level of detail in storytelling. I want to thank Rich Burns, who leads our internal design and architecture, for his incredible contributions on that phase. This Phase 2 expansion of Ballpark Village is over $260 million. This hotel is over $80 million of investment. That is just not possible without great banking partnerships. We and Loews and the Cardinals and Cordish are so proud and so fortunate to have Citizens Bank as our partner in Ballpark Village. Doug Davidson, Tim Leon, David Gregory, thank you. Stiefel Nicholas, Jeff Rombach played instrumental roles in the public financing component of Ballpark Village expansion. thank you for all your expertise and partnership. In many ways, the real heroes of today are the 1,800 construction workers who worked under really tough conditions and delivered this best-in-class product. Parrott Corporation, Keith Walkoff, thank you for getting us today and delivering such an amazing product. Today is obviously a day of celebration, but I did want to bring a name to your attention that some of you may be aware of, but there's a gentleman named Eric Devlin, 29 years old, who just passed away. We wouldn't be here today but for Eric's efforts. He worked tirelessly on this project week in and week out. Hopefully it's a little bit of a legacy for him in terms of his life. Some of his family members are here with us today, and we just want you to know that you're in our thoughts and our prayers, and we're so sorry for your loss. Part of the legacy here is this project is more important than the bricks and the sticks. It's part of the values of Loews Corporation, the Cardinals and Quarters, that we're going to try to make a difference, and that the jobs that we create, that the economic development that we create would be most profoundly felt here locally in St. Louis. We are so excited to say that we're exceeding 40% MWBE participation in this expansion in this hotel and the expansion of Ballpark Village. These are the values of these corporations. They aren't viewed as thresholds or good faith goals. These are on our minds the right way to do business, and we're so proud of those accomplishments. Zed Smith, who's our COO, was a big part of that, and our community advisory committee, led by Adolphus Pruitt of the NAACP. Their volunteerism, their guidance, their wisdom was a major part of that success. Howard Hayes of Slate, who works with us on workforce housing initiatives, local workforce, thank you so much for your leadership and your guidance. And then finally, last but certainly not least, to my team, led by the tireless efforts of Nick Benjamin. We are just so appreciative of everything that you do. Your passion, your energy, your professionalism is really, really fun to watch. I'll name a few names, but Charlie Lee, Brad Hines, Kim Townsend, Jacinda Evans, Melissa Frank, and so many others, thank you. Just in closing, let me end where I started, which is this is just an amazing day for our family. We thank everyone for coming, and it's my great pleasure to introduce to you our partner and the president of the St. Louis Cardinals, Bill DeWitt.
Thanks, Blake. I've learned that when you go last in a ribbon cutting, your thank yous can be redundant. But having said that, I still need to thank a few people. Obviously, Mayor Cruson, who just arrived, and we'll give her a moment when I'm done. And in the city, Otis Williams, who really was there from the beginning with us on making this happen. And obviously Blake and David, John, Reed Cordish, Nick Benjamin's been my partner in crime here for several years in getting this done. Zed, Melissa, and everybody from Cordish, thank you. Alex and John, just so thrilled to have you guys as partners and Loews as a brand here. Like Blake said, it's a wonderful validation for us because you guys have built a world-class organization, a world-class brand. I was at their employee pep rally yesterday. There was more pep than rally, I'll verify that. And I thought to myself, we need to do something like that to get ready for the season coming up. It was inspirational for me. Keith and the entire Parrott team. And then, of course, everybody that worked on the building. I work right across the street, and I've often told the Parrott team, you can mess up in a lot of different places, but you can't mess up right outside my office because I'm going to see it. And so, but what I saw every day from my office was, men and women bundled up, grinding it out on a construction site that, I was like jogging and running into the office to get out of the cold, and they were out here working and the heat, but the cold was tough, and really appreciate them doing that. And of course, our fans, 3.5 million every year, Cardinal fans who come to Busch Stadium are going to be a big part of what makes this successful. And we know that they're going to come check it out, and we hope and are confident that they're going to keep coming back, because that's what it's all about. We have other ribbon cuttings and announcements coming in the future, but this is a big one. This is an anchor to Ballpark Village Phase 2, and I've already made, probably on a couple occasions, the Lake DeWitt joke, which is, you know, we had a construction, just sort of the old remnants of the old Busch 2 for a few years before we got going on Ballpark Village, and there was a retention area that they, you know, named Lake DeWitt, not in a positive way. But I bring it up again because we just happened to be standing literally where Lake DeWitt was, so I had to bring it up again. And this little circle, the art design, for me will always be symbolic of having transformed that lake into something. And I just will point out that this design element that the wonderful designers at HKS and others played off of, and is up on the marquee as well as in all of the rooms behind the beds and the design of the rooms, is this sort of graphic overlay of the old stadium and the new stadium with just the architectural lines. And this is more of an abstracted version of it to fit a circle. But it's really symbolic for me, and I'm really proud of that logo, even though I didn't come up with it, because it talks about the history of what happened to make all this work. And the reason why this is special is because of what it was and what we turned it into. And we don't want to forget what it was, and we want to remember that. And so we've got little touches of how you remember where that old stadium was. And I just think that part of this experience, and John touched on the little Cardinal stories, but it's also a story of St. Louis, how we've evolved and how we're going to continue to evolve. And who knows, maybe phase 3 is to come, and we're going to work on it. But right now, let's celebrate what we've done and thank everybody that was instrumental in making this happen. Thank you. Mayor Cruson, I know you were on some busy stuff and arrived late, but we're happy to have you and really appreciate your help in making this happen.
Thank you. Thank you all. Of course, thank you, Bill, to the Cardinals for everything that you do for our town here. And of course, thank you so much to your family for the huge investment that you have here in the heart of our city. I know that a lot of thank yous have been said before I even arrived today, but a thank you again to the workers who built this fabulous place, but also to the workers who are working here now, the folks who will serve your drinks, who will serve your meals, who will clean the rooms, who will make sure that you have a great experience while you're here in St. Louis. We have to remember those people when we're here. So I also just want to say that for St. Louis, this is quite a culmination, at least to this point, of Ballpark Village and what has been accomplished here over the last few years. Kitty Ratcliffe, I know that she'll be trying to bring conventions to town to make sure that we fill up all these hotel rooms, and having these beautiful new rooms, which I think we're going to see pretty soon, right? Is a great thing for all of us to really capitalize on the momentum that we have here in St. Louis. And you are a big part of this, and we appreciate you. I thank you for your efforts, I thank you for your investment, and I thank you for your confidence in the city of St. Louis. Thank you.
Mayor, thank you very much for being here, and we appreciate your comments. So, Ballpark Village Phase 2 with the few more things to come, but this is really an important moment for the Cordishes, for our family, and for the DeWitts. So I invite everybody to the ribbon to help me officially open Live by Loews St. Louis.